So Alex Sarr was meant to go number one, and it's looking to a lot to a lot of people. It says here, Alex Sarr to the Wizards is now viewed as a lock, per Draft Express on SportsCenter. Hawks will now be deciding between Zachary Ricochet and Donovan Clingan at number one, and I made a video about that yesterday, which is crazy, but he could still go number one. Before we get on to it though, guys, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Look, we might have hit 10k by the time this video comes out. We probably will have hit 10k. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I know it's only short term, but the support you guys are giving this channel means that I might be able to make talking about basketball a living, which, I mean, I made, as you can see behind me, talking about 2k a living for a while, but talking about basketball is something crazy. It would be unbelievable if I'd be able to do that. But yeah, so this is a crazy one here. The Spurs are in rumors trading up for number one. Sarr is projected to go number two. The Spurs are showing interest to jump from 4 to 1 and pair Sarr and Wemby. I don't think we see the Spurs trade 4 and 1. I think if Spurs go to number one, 8 and the Hawks 2025 first round pick. Because if the Hawks get their pick back, then that changes things. If they get their own one pick back, or maybe a situation where, I know they say they don't want Trae Young. Maybe there's some weird situation where they give up 4, 8, and the Hawks picks. And they get, or even like 8 and the Hawks picks, and they get Trae Young and 1. So then suddenly you've paired up Trae Young with Alex Sarr with Wemby. And that's a situation where you're like, okay, we've got Devin Vassell. We still have the 4th pick. Cool. Let's get Stephon Castle in there. Let's go and build around a defense. Let's do like what New York did on steroids. And let's build the best defensive lineup around like a Jalen Brunson or a Trae Young, a small guard. But let's do that. But our surrounding pieces are way better and better on defense. I'd like that team. I'd love that team for San Antonio. If they can make some sort of a trade where they can get Trae Young for those picks, and they find a way to trade to keep pick 4, if they can find a way to get to go 8 and all of the Hawks picks, I don't know, for 1 and Trae Young, because they do own all the Hawks' future. So then you're looking at the Hawks now trying to go and think, okay, yeah, are we gonna go and draft, or, well, who are we going to draft? Are we going to take, say, a Tejan Salone at 8? And then you've also got your own picks next year, where you can go and tank next year's draft and potentially get Cooper Flag. So, this is a weird thing. We'll see what the Hawks are doing. Because you can also trade DeJounte for some assets. And we've seen what the Jazz have done and what the Cavs have done. Or not the Cavs have done, what the Jazz have done. And what the Thunder did. And you can trade your assets for a boatload of picks and you're good. We saw the Spurs do that with DeJounte Murray. We saw the Hawks be a victim of that. And there'll be another team that'll be a victim of giving up their picks for DeJounte. It is what it is. DeJounte's a really good player. So, I could see the Spurs trading up. I would love for the Spurs to just create this ultra defense and shooting lineup surrounded by Trae Young. And you've got Wemby as your second best player. Or sorry, second best offensive player. That team is set. That team is literally a team there to highlight Trae Young's strength and hide his weaknesses. But for Alex Sarr, according to his agents, he wants to play the 4 and he wants to be have a pivotal role in the offense straight away. And the only place I can see him doing that, though, is Washington. So he could force his hand going to Washington. He doesn't want to go to Atlanta. Atlanta probably won't take him. But I don't know. I just think there are a lot of red flags with this guy. I think the defense will translate. I think he is fool's gold, but I don't mind him because the Spurs are notoriously good at developing players. I don't mind him at a place. If he went to a place that's pretty good at developing players, or he's got a major role straight away, Washington aren't good at developing players, but he'll immediately come in as a starter and play a great role, whereas he might be a Twin Tower lineup with him and Wemby, which would be absolutely ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. Like, I would be so shocked if I saw this happen, but the fact they own the Hawks picks, they might go and do it. And I do think, like, obviously you can see right here in this tweet from the Dunk Central as well, Sarr and Wemby project to go number 2. Like, if he goes number 1, he's being traded. Like, the Hawks are not keeping him at number 1. Someone wrote this on before. David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Imagine. By the way, yeah, maybe Wemby could be like a David Robinson. This man's not going to be Tim Duncan. This man, like, fool's gold is the way to describe him. I wouldn't be that. Like, if they went and said, you know what, we're not making this trade, and took Khalil Ware at 8 and tried to play Khalil Ware power forward just due to his athleticism, I wouldn't be that crazy about it. I wouldn't be, like, think it's that much of a downside. But picks 4 and 8 is not worth the number 1 pick. If you're going to take Reed Shepherd with one of those picks, it's worth the number 1 overall pick. I'm just saying. If you're going to take Reed Shepherd, you can literally find a million Reed Shepherds. You can find a Reed Shepherd in the second round of the draft. I'm just saying. Like, if you're dead set, did I have any second round picks? Like, if they've got any second round picks, like, obviously they've, apparently they're also making the 8th pick available. Apparently they're also making the 8th pick available here. So the 8th pick is probably what's going to be traded to get an Alex Sarr if you are San Antonio. So they don't want 2 rookies. If you don't want 2 rookies and you're making the 8th pick available, why not just go and get the guy you want? Why not? Unless you're banking on, unless you're absolutely banking on Ricochet being there at 4. People are saying they might take Reed Shepherd. Man, if you are holding off to get Reed Shepherd, if you're holding off to get Reed freaking Shepherd when you could potentially get somebody else. Look, I don't like Alex Sarr. I don't think he's going to be that good. I think if there's any place that can develop a player, it is the San Antonio Spurs. But don't take Reed Shepherd. Whatever you do, don't take Reed Shepherd. Don't take a 6'1" shooting guard. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be any team that'll really bite on that'll fall for the Reed Shepherd hype. But you just never know. You really just never know when it comes down to these teams. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it seems like they're gonna be looking to trade these picks. It seems like they're gonna be looking to trade that 8th pick for somebody, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the 2 picks go for somebody. I don't like the Spurs going for a Brandon Ingram. I wouldn't mind the Spurs getting another foundational piece that could be good, because the Spurs have their pick next year. And if you put Wemby and Alex Sarr and you're trying to develop these guys, and you've got whatever the hell you get to surround Devin Vassell, whoever you play a point guard, just find a vet point guard. Don't play Sohan there anymore. Find a vet point guard to just throw lobs to these 2. Heck, if you want to give Atlanta their picks back, because Atlanta's pick won't be that good next year. Like, it's going to be, at best case scenario, like the 12th pick if they don't blow it up. And if you've given up 4 and 8, you're basically setting them up on a rebuild. And if you can go and get Trae Young, your 2025 pick's not going to be elite, but you might be a playing team. With Wembanyama getting better, with a young Alex Sarr, I don't know. It just sounds nice to me. I don't like Trae Young in general. I don't rate him that highly, but that team just sounds really, really nice to me.